Hey everyone, this is Steve Larsen and you're listening to Sales Funnel Radio.
Welcome to Sales Funnel Radio, where you'll learn marketing strategies to grow your online business using today's best internet sales funnels. And now, here's your host, Steve Larsen.
All right, everyone, I've got a very special guest on with me today. I'm very excited for this, actually. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. And guys, I want to introduce to you Jaime Smith. And he's done amazing things for the ClickFunnels community. And Jaime, thanks so much for joining. I want to talk a little bit about how you got your start, you know, all the cool things you've done. But first of all, I want you to know, actually, this is Russell and I were talking about you because you've done so many things for the ClickFunnels community. And you remember that video that you may not, but I put a video out and I was like, hey, Russell and I were looking for some help for support things and things like that. And you reached out and we were going through this list of people and like over and over and over again. I was like, and Jamie's the man, like Jaime would be the man, Jaime would be the man. And like the only reason why we're like, I don't know, like, he's so good, I think he'll get bored.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Russell was saying, hey, like this, I mean, he's done so much for the ClickFunnels community itself, and it's just like, it's not like we're asking you to. It's not like we've done anything to do extra promotion for you or anything, but it's like every day I see a new thing that you've done for the ClickFunnels community for all of us non-coders, and it just blows our minds. It's like black magic to me, man. I have no idea how you do what you do.
Yeah, well, lots of years of kind of doing some intense stuff. Honestly, my background is as a senior web app developer. I've been working since 2000. Started out, my first project was actually an enterprise level project with Eli Lilly, and I've always kind of been the cowboy coder writing kind of enterprise level applications, web-based, always web-based. I've done, kind of desktop software and stuff like that, but that's not as much fun for me. But after doing enough of those things, you kind of learn how the back ends work. And so I'm able to take some of that experience and see how the front end works and get into the ClickFunnels admin area and kind of see, okay, I can kind of tell from the URLs and the functions that are available how the back end pieces are pulled together. Yeah. And so that allows me to say, okay, well, if the back end works this way, then if I add this to the front end, then the back end should support it. And so, just kind of having that visibility into both sides of how things work makes it easy for me to kind of go in and know that, okay, if I can customize the front end a little bit, it'll work with the back end. And also just being able to, inspect the code that's being spit out by the ClickFunnels tools on the front end and add some JavaScript into them that just kind of adds a little functionality or a little style or whatever. Just kind of come easy. So I figured, hey, if I can throw some of that stuff out and help people out, then that's, I would love, somebody to be able to, come in and help with all the things that I am not the greatest at. So.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what those topics would be because, like, you've been in the ClickFunnels community for a long time, and I have also. And I got in right after they left beta, and I was doing, building stuff, and it was fantastic. My buddy and I were making money together, and all of a sudden I started seeing, who's Jaime Smith, and you keep putting things like, hey, anyone want some cool CSS that's gonna make yada yada yada, and I was like, holy crap, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, and then. Like the next day, it'd be like, hey, someone else wants some JavaScript I wrote that's going to make your whole funnel act like a shopping, an e-commerce store. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. And it's like over and over and over and over. And I got to tell you, that's one of my biggest regrets. So, because I went to college for, I finished with a marketing degree. But before that, I was actually like a CIT, computer degree. And I remember I went through one semester and I was sitting in one of my coding classes, and maybe it was the teacher, but I can't blame it on that. But like with clear conscience, maybe, I don't know what it was, but like sitting and coding, I remember getting out of there going, I'm never going to sit in front of a computer all day. I'm never going to be doing, and that's all I do now.
Yeah, and now you're doing it.
Yeah, and it's the one thing that I wish I had learned was how to actually program. My dad was an executive at IBM, and he and I we ran a 120 port network inside of our house that we built together, running through the walls, and I mean we did so much stuff together and it was awesome, but I just have never learned the guts of it. So I'm totally jealous of your skills, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse sometimes.
Sure.
'Cause, I see some of these questions come up like, hey, can I do this? And then I'm like, it's like that itch that you just have to scratch, It's like, okay, I'm not going to rest until I figure out how to do this thing. And so, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think, my background's kind of weird. I know what it is. I feel I was talking with somebody, actually was just out in Boise here last week for an event there with Russell and the Ignite Inner Circle program, and that was great.
Uh-huh.
And while I was there, I was talking with somebody and just talking about my background. I just felt like, what I said was, I feel like my biggest blessing, and I hate to say my genius because I don't want to,
Sure.
I'm not trying to brag by any stretch of the imagination, but
Go for it. We'd love to hear it.
I feel like my biggest area of genius is my ability to extrapolate and apply a concept I've learned in one area to a completely different area. So I started when I was young doing mechanical stuff. My dad was my family actually owned a hardware store, and my dad did a lot of installations of hot water heaters and air conditioning, central air units and stuff like that. And so I would always go, like 10 years old, I'm installing furnaces and air conditioning units and hot water heaters and running electricity and doing all this mechanical stuff. And not really any training. It was just, hey, Dad needs a hand, and I'll kind of watch what he does. He'll tell me what to do, and I'll go do it. And so I kind of took that, and then when I graduated high school, actually went into the Army, and I was a helicopter mechanic for 4 years. And so I was able to take some of those mechanical skills and and look at and apply it and look at the engineering of things. And I always felt like I could tear stuff down and kind of reverse engineer how it worked.
Yeah.
And then I've been able to take some of that reverse engineering skill and apply it to technology. And so that's what programming has kind of been for me. And honestly, I've only had a few actual college level classes in programming, and most everything else is all self-taught.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh my gosh.
So over 16 years of, kind of reverse engineering other stuff that's already working, or going in and saying, it's always kind of been on the job. Hey, you need to learn this. Okay, great. Let me go get a reference manual and I'll figure it out. And so I've just been really blessed to be thrown into just a bunch of different projects in different languages and different platforms, and using different frameworks and technologies, and being able to say, okay, these things all kind of have similar ways of doing things. And so if I can take the concept from one and apply it into another, then it's going to get me to a solution that much faster.
I'm sorry about it.
Oh, no, that's what I've been able to do with ClickFunnels, is be able to say, okay, I know I can take the concepts I learned from the back-end programming and from the front-end programming, and I can combine them with this online marketing, which I've also been a student of for the last, going on 12 years now.
Right.
And just, come up with these kind of creative solutions to problems that people are having and problems that I'm having. So
That's it's interesting, because I was thinking about that, and if you can step back and look at abstractly what you're doing with the funnel, that's got a tie directly into what you did growing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've been extremely blessed to be have some fantastic opportunities to get experience that a lot of people just don't get. And sometimes I have to remind myself. Or I have people tell me this, that because I see what I do is just really easy. But then I'm like, anybody could do what I do. In fact, I've said that many, many times. I could train a monkey to do what I do. It's not that hard. It's just once you know the concept, it really is pretty easy. It's just, for me, I've been exposed. I've had I don't feel like I've got any special genius or any special, intelligence ability that other people don't have. It's just I've had the great opportunity to be exposed to experiences where I've had to make a project work. And so, it's just experiences that the majority of people don't get an opportunity for. So I feel truly blessed to be able to do what I do.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And so, for those of you who are listening, and don't know, so what Jaime does is he'll look at what everyone's doing in ClickFunnels and watch the community and the Facebook page and see where people who don't know how to code are running into these walls. And so he'll just come out there and, hey, here's a free tool that I just built that's going to go, or drop this piece of code in, and now ClickFunnels totally changes. It's amazing. It's incredible what you do.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. So, you're obviously working on CF Pro tools, and I'd love to hear a little more about that. But I also want to ask, before we get into that, I don't know, and it's a little weird to like bring this up, tell us about your failures, but I want to know a little bit more about, behind every success story, there's always like this struggle, I feel like, and in marketing, we tend to take, whatever the best case study was that we were able to get and market that only, or whatever the best, results are and market that only, but it's the other 90% are like, pure crap or it just this massive struggle. So I was just wondering if you could, I don't know, tell us a little bit about some of the struggle that produced, CF Pro tools, what led you to get there.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. There's plenty of meat there to chew on.
Sure. There always is. Anytime anyone talks, they're like, oh yeah, there's lots of that,
Oh yeah. No, like I said, I've really been studying online marketing for, the last 12 years or so. And really that's, I've had this passion for, hey, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I guess that's the thing. I never wanted to be the guy that just had a job and just worked my job and just did my thing. Now, every once in a while, I look back and say, man, I worked in a factory building cars for a while, and that was kind of mind-numbingly nice. It's like hard work, but it's like every once in a while I'd like to go back and just feel like, okay, I can just do my job and go home and not have to worry about anything afterwards.
Turn the brain off, yeah.
Yeah, turn, switch off and not be constantly on the clock. But then I remember that, no, I hated that gig too. And it seems like I always do that in the springtime, be like, oh, it'd be awesome to have an outside job, putting on roofs or something like that. And then come August in Indiana when it's 95 and 100% humidity, I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember why I don't do that. That wouldn't last very long. So I've been studying online marketing for a lot of years and really felt like, okay, this is my opportunity. This is where I can actually make something happen and really, take a business and with, I always thought, with minimal effort and, the right scale, I can just make this huge business and live that internet dream laptop beach lifestyle,
Yeah.
And it's 12 years later and I'm still not on the beach and I'm still not working at my laptop. So it's, I started, honestly, I've looked at so many things, and I'll say probably the biggest failure I've had, and a lot of people talk about this, but it's so easy to get sucked into, is the shiny object syndrome, and that's the biggest struggle. And I'm finally learning after 12 years of doing this that that's been my biggest downfall, is constantly being attracted and constantly jumping ship and moving to the next thing. I've done pretty much everything you can think of in internet marketing. I've tried it, starting out with, running niche AdSense sites and building those up. And I had a little bit of success there. I made a few $100 here and there on different sites, and okay, that's great. And then, you run into a little struggle and you're like, oh, that doesn't work. And you just dump it and you move on to the next thing. Yeah. And in the process of doing that, I actually build out, again, using my technology background and as a developer, I actually built a product around taking PLR content that was, I was getting in a monthly membership where you'd get, 1,000 articles a month or whatever in different niches for free, and, go and build your website around these, throw AdSense on it, and you'll make money. Great. So I did that, and I thought, okay, I'm going through and doing this, and there's got to be a quicker, better way to build out a network of sites. So I figured out a way to take WordPress, and back in this is back like WordPress 2 days, to use WordPress, what was called multi-user, or WordPress MU, and use that to build a network of these niche sites just on different subdomains. And so I figured out how to do that, and I actually was in a community similar to the Facebook group, specific to this product. I had about 1,000 members or so, and kind of the same thing I've been able to do with CF Pro Tools, just kind of jump into the community, help out as much as I can, show people what I'm doing and how to use the technology to build these sites out more quickly.
Right.
And actually build a training program, like 28 videos on how to use WordPress and how to use the network and how to drive traffic and how to do all this stuff, and put that together and just poured a ton of time into it. And that was probably my first little success, where I sold like $1,700 worth of this course. I'm like, okay, awesome. This is going. And then WordPress came out and changed their version. I'm like, I do not want to go back and re-record 28 videos.
28 videos. Yeah.
It was like, it was like 6 hours worth of video training. It was just this immense. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to keep up with this. So I just kind of dumped it and moved on to the next thing. And I probably could have been successful with that if I would have stuck with it. But, it got hard. There's surely some other shiny object that's easier to do over here, and jump ship. And I just did that repeatedly, for the last 10 or 12 years, and have learned the hard lesson that just doesn't work. Any one of the things that you pick, you can be successful at online. I mean, there's very few things that if you don't, there's been plenty of plans laid out that will work if you apply the right leverage. So I think you just have to pick one and go with it. For me, the latest has been CF Pro Tools, and kind of jumping into a community where there's, we've got 20,000 plus active members now inside the ClickFunnels Facebook group. We've got, ClickFunnels users, I think I heard recently is, right around 20,000 active users of ClickFunnels right now. So, it's a huge community. So it's a huge opportunity, and so that's great. So that's kind of where my focus has been, and I actually enjoy it. I posted on the group not too long ago that ClickFunnels makes what I do easy. The community makes it fun. So I really do enjoy it.
I completely agree with that. And I want to go back just real quick to something you mentioned. You just touched on it, and I'm learning this lesson. I don't know. I feel like any of us who do anything entrepreneur, we all learn this lesson. I don't know, like every 6 months, or it comes in a wave. the shiny object syndrome. Yeah, and it's huge. And what's funny is in college, like I 100% had shiny object syndrome, but I kept telling my wife, like, no, I'm just in an age of exploration. I'm going around all over the place, like, doing real estate here, writing ebooks there, door-to-door sales here, like I was all over the place. And but it was good because I was learning. But after a while, I mean, you have got to drop an anchor, and you have to learn to say no. And I'm laughing that you brought this up because like 3 days ago, I was voxing Russell, and I was like, hey man, someone approached and they're like, hey, I got this cool thing, wondering if you want to jump in on it in your free time, which is kind of a joke. And Russell was like, you know what, man, as a friend, like, stop. You have so many cool things going on already. Like, he's like, you can't, just as a friend, you can't say no anymore. And by the way, he's like, if you have time to focus on 2 things, it means you're probably not doing enough in number 1. You know what I mean? Right. And I thought that was fantastic that he said that. Like, I have not really ever had success in something until I become a monomaniac. I mean, you really have to obsess over it. It's the only thing you think about. All of your time is put towards it. You don't go home and just like veg out on the couch. I mean, and after a couple months, then something will blow up. But anyways, I just want to touch on it because I thought that was really key, and wanted to just point that out. Like, you have to. I remember when Russell said that, I laid on my bed like for a long time. And just was like, man, he just defined like the last 4 years of my life. Why was I so close to it? I couldn't see it. It's so obvious when you hear it, but you look at it and like, man, what can I simplify and cut out? And that's usually not the mentality everyone's taking on. It's more of a, what can I be a beast at and take on more and more and more? And it's actually very much the opposite of how you do things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when somebody starts a conversation with, hey, as a friend, that's probably not going to be what you want to hear sometimes. No. Hey, but no, that's what you got to like about, guys like Russell that can jump in and, tell you what you really need to hear, whether it's what you want to hear or not. So that's awesome. And it's great advice as well. Do you mind bringing us through a little bit of CF Pro Tools? I'd like to, feel free to go through it. And I was wondering also, and I probably should ask you this before, but I mean, everyone here, obviously, we like to hear the numbers, if you wouldn't mind. A few things on that, or take us through your funnel and kind of how it works, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so it really started out as, CF Pro Tools was just, as I thought through, I built out a couple of these custom JavaScripts, just to do, the first one somebody had asked for was the ability to add a checkbox directly onto the buy button. Normally we see these checkboxes to say, hey, I agree to the terms and conditions. And what somebody was saying is, hey, I added this to my page and it's kind of cutting down on my conversion rate. So I'd really like to be able to put this checkbox directly on the buy button. That way they're at least looking at the buy button when they have to check it. And maybe that'll help with conversions. Maybe it'll, be a way to fill the bill of requirement. For some processors require that, hey, if you're going to sign somebody up for a trial subscription, you need to have somewhere on the page that identifies that they agree that they're signing up for a trial subscription and they're going to be charged again in 30 days. So that really was where the need came from. And so I thought, what? And so they posted in the Facebook group and said, hey, is it possible to do this? And so I just posted back and said, well, hey, it's not possible to do out of the box, but I can certainly add some JavaScript that adds a checkbox to your button. And so I, kind of dug in the easiest way to do that and make it still flexible with the ClickFunnels editor. And so you can still edit the button text. You can still edit the subtext, which is actually what I use for the checkbox agreement. So I just said, hey, we've got this subtext. I can just prepend a checkbox to that event or to that text, and then I'll just and then you've got a checkbox. And I was like, okay, cool, that works. And so just kind of started there, and then a couple other things come along. I'm like, okay, I can, now I've got 2 or 3 of these things. And to me, if you've ever used Aweber and you've heard of Zach Bourne, there's AW Pro Tools, which is Aweber Pro Tools. And I thought, hey, I kind of like that name. I like the product. I've used, Aweber and AW Pro Tools for a long time. And I thought, that's kind of what I'm working on here, is little pieces that I can add to ClickFunnels that don't come out of the box. Yeah. So I went out and registered CF Pro Tools, and I thought, well, I'll just throw them in a free membership area and give people access, and that way I can kind of keep up to date. If I add new scripts, I can send out emails and do all that, and now it's a library of 16 different scripts that are in there for free, and I've had I think I just was actually just recording a video earlier this morning. I think I registered my own account in that membership area March 13th. Just prior to Funnel Hacking Live at the end of March this year.
Okay, cool.
And so, I threw it all together, and since then I've had a ton of people say, dude, why aren't you charging for this? And how much can I pay you for this? And all kinds of other things. And it's like, no, I just want to. It's always been my goal. I've heard many times. I always attribute to this to Frank Kern, is probably the person that sticks out the most in my mind, as saying, if you want to help somebody, you need to show them how you can help them by actually helping them.
Yeah.
And so, and I take that as kind of lead with value, which. Complete side note, I was able to register the domain name a couple of days ago, leadwithvalue.com. And I'm like, okay, that's what I try and live by. Lead with value. Show somebody that I can help them by actually helping them. Yeah. So I thought, the best way to do that is to get in front of the community. The best way to get in front of the community is by actually helping them do things. And the best way I can do that is just throw some stuff out for free and say, hey, I'm going to throw this value out there. And there's no strings attached. Just jump in and grab it. And it's been hugely successful for me. And I always feel like if you go into something and you provide value without any expectation of return, that value is actually going to return to you probably 10 times more than you put into it.
100%.
Yeah, and that's truly been how this has gone for me. And so it's been great. And so after doing this for quite a few months now, just kind of providing as much value as I can, I've finally come up with a few scripts like, wow, this really is a major game changer. And after building up a pretty good sized library, I felt like, okay, now I actually want to make something work with this, make something happen. I've had enough people say, hey, I want to pay you for this. Right. I feel like you've given me all this value, I need to pay you. Please make something available as a paid product. And so I thought, well, I'll just add on a section to my membership that is a VIP club. And basically where I throw these kind of high value scripts in there, and people can sign up, and I'll just throw monthly, monthly scripts of these high value nature into this membership, and let people, join in. And so I rolled out the CF Pro Tools VIP Club. And and through the first script I threw in there was my CF Cart Mode script, which basically takes ClickFunnels, which, as you know, out of the box, the order form just supports adding one product at a time to your order. Right. So you can have 3 or 4 products listed on your order form, but you have a radio button, so you can only select one of those products to purchase. Right. So I thought, well, hey, just for, again, looking at the structure of the code on the front end, and seeing that, hey, I notice how some of these variables are named, And just from my experience on the back end, I know that, okay, if it's named this way, it probably means we can send multiple values into it.
At the same time, yeah.
At the same time. And so I determined that, hey, I could probably send multiple products into the cart and have them process in the order just fine. And so I tweaked the front end a little bit to change those radio buttons to checkboxes. That was the first iteration. And I tested my order, and hey, guess what? It all worked. I was able to send in multiple products to the cart and have them process in a single order as a single transaction in ClickFunnels. So I was like, awesome. And then I had people ask, hey, is there any way that I can have a quantity selector? And I thought, I wonder if I could combine the two. And so I made the CF cart mode, which is the combination of, it works probably best for like say you're selling t-shirts and you have 4 different sizes, small, medium, large, extra large, and you want people to be able to order more than one at a time. So the cart mode gives you the ability to have a drop-down selector for quantity, and then the ability to add each of the products individually. So you could say, hey, I want 2 smalls, 3 larges, and 4 mediums. And ClickFunnels will process that on the back end all perfectly. It does all, adds up totals, sends everything across to your payment processor as your total amount, and then your order confirmation page shows each of the shirts that were ordered. So it works pretty awesome.
I'm blown away that, so I have an account with CF Pro Tools, and I logged in there, and I could not believe all the stuff that was in there. And when you look at ClickFunnels is what people want, as far as like the structure and the ease and stuff like that. And then there's all these extra little tweaks and features and customizations people need based on what, their business is or what industry they're in.
Sure.
And yours is like, it's the other side of that, man. It's like, if you've got CF Pro Tools and you got ClickFunnels, there is literally no other product on the planet that is like it. It's pretty amazing. And I like that you said that, though, about the bait. And you decided for a long time to give, tremendous value up front for free for a long time. I kind of came to that realization, I don't know, it was like 6 months ago also. And I was like, man, everyone wants me to build these funnels constantly. It's like the thing that everyone, asks me to do. And so I was like, well, I might as well toss all the ones that I've built and make them free and put them at a site. And that's what salesfunnelbroker.com is.
Awesome.
You go in there and you can download the entire website, salesfunnelbroker.com, just for free.
Right.
And the amount of doors that's opened up is amazing. But it's counterintuitive because people are like, well, I don't know, man. I could charge $5,000 for that easily. And it's true. And it's like, but that's kind of the realization I've had recently is that, hey, like what people would normally pay for, go ahead and make that free, and you become this rock star and in their life, and you help them like crazy. And I get all these personal messages, and I'm sure you get them too. It's like, man, thanks so much. This is helping me. I've sold more because of this or whatever it is. And anyways, I'm just saying I completely agree with that. That's fantastic. So at what point did you decide to start charging for all of that?
Yeah, that really was just in the last few weeks, that I opened up the doors on the VIP club, and really what it came down to is, okay, I'm still working I hate to say a full-time job, but I had kind of committed to a 25-hour a week, job, and that was, it's what I've always done. So it's what I knew. It was always kind of that foundation, that safety net. But I thought, this is only going to get me so far. I really need to ramp up and scale up, my income potential. And so, hey, people are asking for this. Let me just throw it out there and see what works. So finally, I just flipped the switch in my head and said, okay, I need to make something out there, and I just need to do it. This is the other one of my big failures, and that has been perfection. Always worrying about, well, I'm not quite ready to put it out yet because it's not perfect.
Right.
I really need to perfect my message, my sales letter, my report, my whatever. I'm working on a book here, and I need to make sure it's perfect before I can roll it out. And one motto that I keep reinforcing to myself, and I try and share with everybody that I see having the same problem, is, in my opinion, perfection is the enemy of progress.
Love it.
And so when I'm trying to make things perfect, it keeps me from actually putting anything out there that could be successful. So I really just, I had written several of these scripts. I had tested several things. CF Cart Mode was one of them that I had built and I tested for myself. And I thought, okay, it's not quite 1,000% ready. So I'm just going to hold on to it. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna put a separate section in my membership up, and I'm going to put a sales page up, and I'm going to put a buy button on, and I'm going to let people go and buy it. And so, it was my goal within a 24-hour period to go from concept to completion. And I did that, and I flipped the switch, and, 5 days later, I was at 5 figures. And so I was like, well, okay, now we're on to something. So
how cool is that?
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool.
Do you mind sharing with us the funnel, I guess, a little bit, or at least the way you bring people through? I mean, I've been through it. It's
Sure.
fantastic, but,
Sure.
squeeze page, order form, whatever.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Really, the first iteration was just to kind of capture the traffic that I already had. I had about 700 members inside the free version of CF Pro Tools. So my thought was, okay, I just need to get in front of those people that already know and love me.
Sure.
And I hate to say that in a boastful way, but
it's true though. You're a brand. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so I just kind of want to get in front of those people that are already hot prospects, that already know who I am and already know the value of the scripts. And so it's a pretty simple process. It's just a video that says, hey, I'm Jamie. I'm with CF Pro Tools. I'm the creator. This is what I've got for you. I've got a monthly I've got a membership area where I'm going to be throwing these high value scripts on a monthly basis. I'm also going to be doing monthly share funnels. And I'm also going to be doing some video training. If you want to jump in, there's a monthly membership or there's a yearly membership. And so the funnel is basically that. You're signing up to either pay by the month or pay by the year. And I kind of, really just kind of throw some spaghetti at the wall as far as price. So I put a normal price in my mind. I thought, okay, normal price should be around $67 a month.
Sure.
And then my thought on the yearly price came from a guy named Rory McDowell. I did a mastermind session with Trey Llewellyn here a while back, and Rory was there. And he shared just this absolutely golden nugget that I will share with you, and I give 1,000% credit to Rory because this is just brilliant. He said, in fact, he won the prize. Trey did a little contest, and there were 16 people or so in the room, and everybody got to give their number one tip. And the prize was one of those new, the new 360-degree cameras. That you see, people doing all these videos, and so it's like a $500 camera. So okay, so the person gets the number one tip, gets this $500 camera, and Rory won that. And his tip was this: if you've got a membership area, and you can figure out what your average stick rate is, and say your average stick rate is 4 months. People come in, they sign up, they stay for 4 months in your membership, and then they bail. He said, then really what you want to do is offer a yearly plan at just 1 month more than what their monthly was.
Oh man.
Cost-wise, because you just got an extra month of income out of them that you weren't going to get if you just kept charging monthly. And to them, when they sign up, that seems like a huge bargain. And so you're getting all that money up front that you can now turn around and reinvest in even more advertising to drive even more traffic to that great deal. And so it's just the quickest way to scale your business dramatically. And I thought that is absolutely brilliant.
That is brilliant.
So of course, I'm just starting this, so I have no idea what my average stick rate is. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to go on the 4 month premise. I'll just say, okay, if people were to stick for 4 months, then let's charge 5. So I just did get 5 months for the price, or get 12 months for the price of 5 on my yearly plan. So, and I basically wanted to do right around a 50% discount for the launch. For those people that have been around, I want to give them the most value for. And the most love I can by being huge promoters and supporters of CF Pro Tools. So I went with a $37 a month initial price that'll go up probably around the 1st of September, and then a $197, which is roughly 5 times the monthly, to sign up for the year. And I just put it all on a single order form. Here's your 2 payment options. You got a couple buttons. I actually modeled the Funnel University, the funnelradio.com funnel. Yeah. So that's what I used there, and it worked perfectly. So I threw that out there, and right away had people start signing up, and which was great. The one thing that I did figure out is that, and I actually have changed the price now a little bit for the yearly plan, was because I was getting everybody into the $197 a year, which was great to come up with a big launch. Yeah. But as you're running a membership, you kind of want to have a little monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah, you want the continuity there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm not getting any continuity here. I mean, I literally had like 95% of my sales were for the 97 for the year, and I thought, well, I got to be able to support adding this stuff in each month, so I probably ought to maybe make it a little less enticing to go with the yearly. So I bumped that price up to $247. That's kind of balanced things out a little bit more. Whereas I'm getting new signups now, I'm getting a little better mix of the monthly versus the yearly. So,
man, that's amazing. So okay, that's fantastic. I've been thinking of that. We have this thing above the door. Actually, you can basically see it right now. The Ready, Fire, Aim.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool. I mean, you've just done that. You just put it out there, see what happens, and then tweak as you go.
Yeah.
People get so stuck doing the other way around, just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, and that's huge. I need to get one of those and put them above my door, above my desk, as I'm looking at the wall each day with the computer and everything. Because it makes such a huge difference. I mean, you're going to get a result, and Tony Robbins talks about this, and I've learned, over the years that there are no mistakes, there are no failures. There's only results. That result may not be what you want, but it's giving you a result. It's a lesson you can learn from it. And so, throw it out there and see what your result is. You just have to have that sensory acuity, to use one of Tony Robbins' words, that sensory acuity to know, is this the result I was looking for? And if not, what kind of difference can I take out of this that I can make a tweak and maybe move in the right direction? Little 2-degree changes, expanded out, and make a huge difference.
Yeah,
so just making little shifts and make little changes and keep at it. Eventually, you'll find the success. You just have to, you have to get started. And so it's been very cool. And I back into that just to jump back into the funnel a little bit. I did add so I've got the VIP club, which everybody, a lot of people have been signing up for. I was converting about 10%, which is really what I was looking for. I wanted to get, my goal was to get 10% of my existing free members signed up into the paid membership, and that's about where we ended up at. So I feel like, okay, I hit that kind of target, and really that's just a number that I pulled out. That I said I feel like I'd be successful if I could get 10% of people that took something for free to actually pay for a little bit more.
Now, are you currently driving traffic as well? Are you buying ads for this?
I have not done any traffic generation other than sending emails out to the existing list.
That's amazing. 5 figures internal launch, and you just crafted it as you went. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was very happy with it. And then the other layer of that is I thought, okay, so I've got the monthly membership on the front end. I need to have something to offer on the back end, and I want to be able to work with people on a little more, personal level. And so what I did is I thought, well, I'm going to create the Platinum Club. Everybody wants to be a VIP and everybody wants to feel important. So the Platinum Club is, again, another level of exclusivity. And I learned this from Russell. Everybody kind of people will pay extra just to feel a little more special. And so my goal is always to provide more value. So the way I can do that is with the Platinum Club, we offer monthly group coaching calls where I'll get on the phone. Probably, I'm guessing, we haven't actually done the first one yet. It'll be probably coming up in the next week or so. 2, 3, 4 hours, however long it takes to go through, address the training. So I'll be doing training on technical topics and how to use ClickFunnels and how to integrate different things. We'll be doing these on a monthly basis, and go through all that, answer any questions that come up during that process, and then also do some coaching, and then also do hot seats where, if I've got a member that has a funnel that they're working on that they want to review, we'll pick somebody from the group and we'll go through their funnel and help, from a technical perspective as well as just a conversion and just strategy perspective, so that everybody can benefit. Everybody always learns from seeing somebody else going through the process. So that's a better, that's a great way to provide some value. And then I'll also be doing some much more in-depth training videos on how I work. I've been completely blessed to work with some of the biggest names in the ClickFunnels world, at least. I've worked with Liz Binney, I've worked with Trey Llewellyn, I've worked with Dean Holland, I've worked with Joel Irway. I've worked with all these people. So to be able to see what all they're working on and kind of be involved in that process, and to help them, with different aspects of their funnels, it brings great experience. So if I can take and kind of share some of that experience with other people, then I would love to be able to do that. And this is the Platinum Club's kind of my way to be able to do that.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's exciting. And it's fun too, like when, I don't know, I just feel like there's energy and movement and momentum is such a huge part of this. And I can't wait to launch forever. So that's fantastic. Well, hey, okay, so I take notes like crazy. I got a full page of notes going.
Awesome.
So just to kind of recap, you kind of said some cool stuff. Perfection is the enemy of progress. That's huge. There's no failures, only results, which is so big. Oh, it's such a huge lesson. You think about the mental, I don't know, I call it mental shelf space. It's like how much your brain can kind of handle at once. Think about how much mental shelf space people dedicate towards making sure they don't fail. And it's very, very freeing to realize there aren't any.
Right.
Anyways, people will pay more just to feel special. I 100% see that all the time. And yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I sell my own funnels also, like in the ClickFunnels marketplace and all over but I think a lot of people don't even use the things that they're buying, but they just, they want to feel like they've made progress, so they go off. Anyways, that's fantastic.
That's the other thing too, that and this honestly, I'm guilty of this myself, and so I definitely know that people do this. A lot of people do this. It's probably the majority of people do this. Is they go into something and they have an itch, and they need to scratch that itch. And as soon as somebody buys your product, they have scratched that itch.
Yep.
So a lot of people will never consume your product because just the fact of purchasing it made them progress towards fulfilling, towards scratching that itch, and that was just all they needed. And that's why we get that shiny object syndrome, because if we don't actually completely get rid of the itch, we just scratch it for a little bit, it's going to come back, and then we figure, well, this thing that I just kind of scratched the surface with, kind of got rid of the irritation for a little bit, but now it's back. I'm going to have to try something else. And maybe that'll finally get rid of the problem. And it usually doesn't, because we didn't fully scratch it. But people will do that. They'll buy your product and not consume it. It's just part of human nature.
Yeah. Which isn't always a bad thing.
No, absolutely not. It serves well, as long as you do a good job and do it ethically and actually deliver something that could fulfill their need. If they actually followed it, then you've done your job. But that's another reason why you don't have to worry about being perfect with everything. You're not... you just have to get it out there, because you've got a lot more chance of helping people actually be successful if you release something versus sitting and working on it constantly. So,
well, I'm looking at this huge page of notes, and I know you just kind of gave it, but I guess what kind of advice would you give here as we kind of end? So as you kind of get started, I'm looking at, you have quite the journey, you have quite the story going on here. This is awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, the biggest advice is just stick with it, and here's a little story I've shared before, and I love this story. And this story actually I heard originally from Joel Osteen, and I just thought it was brilliant. And it's just a huge indicator. To me, it attaches perfectly to internet marketing. And that is that there was a study done, a psychology study done with some apes, and these scientists gather. They build this kind of enclosed facility, and in the center of this enclosed facility, they've got this pole, and at the top of this pole, they've got this big bunch of bananas, and then they put in these three gorillas, or three monkeys, I think. They put in these three monkeys into this enclosure, and of course, monkeys love bananas. So this first monkey runs and scurries up the top of the pole to grab this bunch of bananas, and as soon as he got to the top, the scientist through the top of the enclosure squirted him with a hose. And he's got doused with this bunch of water. And man, he shoots back down the pole, never got the bananas, gets to the bottom, and then he's afraid to go back up the pole. So then the next monkey does the same thing. He's like, hey, I'm going to go up and get these bananas. He runs up to the top of this pole to grab these bananas, and they dump this bucket of water on him. And again, he gets doused with this water, and back down the pole he goes. And he's like, I'm not going back up, scared to even get near the pole now. And so the third monkey starts to go up make his way up the pole, and the other two monkeys grab him and pull him down.
Interesting.
And so, they do this, and they think, okay, well, let's take one of the monkeys out, and we'll put a new monkey in. So now they've got a new third monkey. And again, this monkey sees this pole, sees the bananas, goes and tries to go up, and the other two monkeys grab him and pull him down. And then they thought, okay, well, let's pull one of the monkeys out, put a new one back in. They do the same thing, and this happens again. And they do this again and again and again, to the point where now none of the monkeys that are in the enclosure have ever been doused with the water. But for whatever reason, it's become inherent that you cannot be successful at getting these bananas, and they all will pull each other down. And now nobody will even try to go up and get the bananas. And so I see that as kind of internet marketing. And you get in this sometimes, and you will get excited and jazzed about something, and you'll go and talk to your friends, or you'll talk to your family, or talk to somebody else online, and they'll say, that's never going to work. You don't even need to try. I knew a guy that got into that, and he failed. You need to just stay down. And so people are going to pull you down when you think you've got something you can be successful at. You're always going to have people around you that will pull you down. But if you persist, don't let the doubters, don't let the haters pull you down and keep you from being successful. Because I did that for a long time. You talk to the people in there, say, oh yeah, that's crazy, that's a scam, that's you can't make money online, it's just not possible. But we see all over the world people that are being successful on the things we want to be successful with it. So it's absolutely possible. You just have to kind of stick to it. You have to pick the thing that's going to, the vehicle you think that's going to give you the success, and stick to it and do that, and you can be successful. So, that's one of the big things. Don't let the haters drag you down. You can make it to the top, and you can grab your banana too.
That's fantastic, man. What a great story. I appreciate that.
Problem.
Man, I don't want to say anything else because I want to ruin it. There's a glow right now. The room I'm in is actually a little brighter.
Awesome.
Hey, where should people go to check out your stuff?
CFProTools.com is just the quickest way to get, you can get signed up, get into the free membership area there. Once you're inside, there's upgrade buttons if you want to get upgraded. And if you're not already in the ClickFunnels Facebook group, jump in there. I'm in there all the time. So, jump in and connect with me there, and love to connect with everybody.
Well, Mr. Jaime Smith, you have dropped tons of gold, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it, Stephen.
Awesome. Hey, we'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Sales Funnel Radio. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Have a question you want answered on the show? Get your free t-shirt when your question gets answered on the live Hey Steve show. Visit salesfunnelbroker.com now to submit your question.